Welcome to 3 Minute Gaming News, your one stop to get all your daily gaming news in just 3 minutes. We start with Black Myth Wukong, which is getting a major update today. However, the update is so large, coming in at around 90 gigabytes, this might require a fresh install of the game on PlayStation, just to ensure you have the space to install it. Now, the purpose of this patch or update is to improve the performance of the game, including improved loading times and textures. Square Enix now brings us some news that beloved Final Fantasy spin-off game Dissidia is making its return. The catch? It's a mobile game coming to iOS and Android. Besides this, there's nothing else known yet. However, there will be a reveal on YouTube tomorrow at the time of recording, which will be 11 AM on the 14th of October for anyone in the UK. Being mobile only, I can assume this will cause a lot of upset for fans of the series. Assassin's Creed Shadow seems set to be released on Switch 2 after it was discovered a French retailer has uplisted the item online. This now seems to have been taken down as of time of recording, but this news will be very exciting to any Assassin's Creed fans who want a portable version of the game. Now, be careful if you're a Pokemon fan, as leaks for Pokemon Legends ZA are online. Streamers on Twitch already seem to have copies of the game days early, so if you're trying to avoid spoilers, whether it's about the story, Pokedex, Meta Evolutions or more, try your best to avoid anywhere you might get some. I'll be providing absolutely no spoilers for the game in the coming days, so you're safe here at 3 Minute Gaming News. And finally, Microsoft is disputing that retailers Walmart and Target aren't pulling their consoles off the shelves. This comes after Costco removed their Xbox section and marked down all their remaining consoles in physical stores. Now, why have they had to dispute this? Well, it's because of reports on Reddit from alleged current employees. Xbox have released a statement saying that Walmart and Target are both committed partners, but there are photos of these stores with no stock anymore. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the coming weeks as to how true this is.
There's a new patch available for Hollow Knight Silksong. This patch is roughly the same size as the previous one. Changes in this update include support for DualSense Edge controllers on the PlayStation 5, as well as various controllers on Mac, as well as other quality of life changes, such as fixing glitches players would come across and balancing issues. Mark Alexis Cote, the franchise lead for Assassin's Creed for almost 20 years, has left Ubisoft. This comes in the wake of Ubisoft having an internal restructure, including setting up subsidiary Vantage Studios with the aim that they will oversee Ubisoft's biggest franchises, including Assassin's Creed. It's been reported that Cote was offered a leadership role but turned this down, so we can look forward to seeing where he goes next. If RPGs and pets are your kind of thing, then I have some good news for you, as Obsidian has confirmed that you can have a pet aboard your ship to interact with in the Outer Worlds too. This is a feature first added in the original Outer Worlds game in the DLC expansion that has now been brought forward to the new release, arriving in a few short weeks. And finally, today, we turn our attention to Blue Point Games, the developer behind the beautiful Demon's Souls remake on PlayStation 5. In the wake of PlayStation canceling a live service God of War game they had Blue Point developing, and we're so thankful for this, the studio has turned its attention to its next game. A job listing for a senior combat designer has been found, suggesting that the next game will have a major combat focus. Whether this is an original game by the developers is unknown, but based on the role being hired for, I think this is a safe assumption as opposed to another remake or remaster. So,
We start once again with some Pokemon Legends ZA news. Now, we have news about this game that's going to require a day one patch. This will allow players to use the game's online features. This will be version 1.01, and it's described as not being very big, but necessary for the online functionality to work. So get ready to download this once you put your cartridge in. We have retirement news now as Dan Forden, the sound director of Mortal Kombat, who worked on the original all the way until the latest release, has finally retired. A career spanning 37 years in the industry and being the legendary voice behind the toasty sound, Mortal Kombat fans know all too well. October's game catalogue has been released for PlayStation Plus users and there's some pretty big additions. We have the Silent Hill 2 remake, which is probably the biggest of the bunch coming, V Rising, the 2024 release of Until Dawn, Yakuza Like a Dragon, Poppy Playtime Chapter 1 and more. These will be available to subscribers beginning October 21st. And finally we have news on Exodus, one of my most anticipated games. The sci-fi RPG from former BioWare developers who have described the game as using Mass Effect for inspiration, which I think we all knew would be the case. However, they have now come out to say that the Horizon games and the Metroid games have also given inspiration for how the game functions. So when this space-set action RPG finally releases, it's going to be interesting to see just how much inspiration from each type of game shows through, and how different they're able to make it to Mass Effect, which I think is probably going to be the obvious comparison upon release. Could Dead Space 4 be a reality? Well, Glenn Schofield, who's the co-creator of the original Dead Space, also noticeably didn't work on 2 or 3, told IGN that he has a few ideas for what he wants to make next, with one of those being Dead Space 4. However, with Dead Space currently under the ownership of EA, and Schofield being the director of Pinstripe Games, it seems unlikely Dead Space 4 will be a reality unless EA sells the franchise off in the pending $55 billion sale. With a few bits of Quantic Dream news now, we'll start with the reveal of their next game, a free-to-play 3v3 battle arena game called Spellcasters Chronicles. Players can choose between the damage, support or tank roles to help their team claim a victory. This is a far cry from Quantic Dream's more known games such as Heavy Rain, Fahrenheit and Detroit Become Human. This moves us to the second piece of news today regarding Quantic Dream, which is the Star Wars Eclipse game that was first revealed all the way back in 2021, is still in development by the studio. News about the game has been scarce, but studio founder David Cage has provided an update about the game's future in the form of a blog post. In regards to the game, he has said, "Of course development of Star Wars Eclipse continues. We are eager to share more with you in the future. How much longer we'll have to wait for more news on the game is unclear, but hopefully it's sooner rather than later." And finally, news for all you wrestling fans, the John Cena Farewell Tour DLC is now live for WWE 2K25. Coming in at a cost of $14.99 or £13.49 for all you UK guys, this DLC pack will add a Doctor of Thugonomics John Cena, a playable Ron Cena, playable Brock Lesnar, playable WrestleMania 41 John Cena, 5 t-shirt cosmetics, and 15,000 VC to spend. So if you need a little more John Cena in your WWE 2K25, then this is for you. Graders, which has seen over 100,000 concurrent players hit the servers in just 2 hours. This is the final playtest for gamers to jump into the game before its release on October 30th, which will then be at a cost of $39.99 or £30.99 if you're in the UK. This test is designed to push the Arc Raiders servers as hard as possible to ensure they're working before the game's launch, and with 100,000 players in 2 hours, probably doing a good job. Nintendo are ramping up production of the Switch 2, reportedly looking to make 25 million consoles by the end of March 2026. This comes as Nintendo are preparing for record-breaking first year. With the cost of games and the console facing criticism, it'll be interesting to see just how many more consoles they can pump out before April hits. Now, a few days ago we brought news about Mark Alexis Cote leaving Ubisoft. Well, in an update to this, Cote has come out on his LinkedIn and stated that he did not make that choice in regards to leaving Assassin's Creed. Further stating, "I stayed at my post until Ubisoft asked me to step aside." Now there's more in his statement, but this is sort of like the abbreviated version. Megan Morgan Hulnio, who was the producer of God of War 2018, and I'm very sorry I probably butchered her name, has come out to say that big publishers such as Sony and Activision need to diversify into AA, single A, and indie games, naming games such as Astrobot and Split Fiction, which had much smaller budgets and scope, as well as developmental time. Now this obviously comes during layoffs over profits within the gaming industry, as well as rising costs of living and increasing prices of games and hardware. So what is your thought on this? Should big AAA companies diversify more? And finally, Marvel Rivals has revealed the first player versus event mode for Marvel Rivals. This being Marvel Zombies, which will arrive in a few days on October 23rd. This mode will see players take on endless waves of zombies as well as the Queen of the Dead and Zombie Namor, so look forward to dipping into this very soon. Claire Obscure Expedition 33, which is getting a mirror edition. Now this edition comes in at $60 with a release date of November 27th. I've not been able to find any EU or UK copies for this yet, so it might be a US exclusive, but this edition will come with a physical copy of the game, an exclusive steelbook case for the game itself, some collectible cards and a tuck box with new artwork. With this dropping just in time for Christmas, this might make the perfect gift for someone, or even yourself. Hori is bringing its guitar life and the guitar controller to the US just in time for Christmas as well. Retailing for $100, this is designed to allow you to use your Switch to learn the guitar. Utilising pressure sensitive strings to emulate an acoustic guitar, alongside different modes like lesson, free play and more, you can learn to play the guitar to some fully licensed songs and classic public domain ones. So look forward to this dropping soon. There's a new patch for Ghost of Yotei. While this offers some gameplay tweaks to make the game more enjoyable, the biggest change comes as this brings fixing of some rare but potentially game-breaking bugs. These bugs would make certain missions uncompletable, however it now seems this has been ironed out for anyone really unlucky enough to have been hit by one of these. We have a really surprising update for Demon's Souls, the PS5 remake. This update allows the game to use the power saving mode, which is a new feature that has come to PlayStation, to run the game. Now, turning on power saving does come with some catches though. It's been reported that instead of the potential 60 FPS the game, or the PlayStation can utilise, the game will run at 30 FPS. So if this is something you don't mind, you can always go for that lower power consumption. And finally we have some more legal drama, and Sony has taken actions to ask a federal judge to stop Tencent, the upcoming creator of Light of Motorum, to stop them from using elements of the game that they believe infringes on the copyright of Horizon. Now comparisons between the games have been rife since Light of Motorum was announced, and with Sony now filing this, it seems like things will get pretty interesting between now and the release of the game. Phasmophobia, which is getting a new location on November the 11th. Players will be able to go to Nell's Diner. Now, this sounds like it would be a smaller map, as the developers said that these seem to be more popular with players. You can check out the announcement trailer now to see if this, being the 14th map, appeals to you. Atari is dropping a new retro console in December, being the Intellivision Sprint. This comes after Atari acquired the Intellivision brand, what a word to try and say, last year. Being the cause of the first ever console war back in 1979, Atari is keeping the retro appearance of this console to bring those old school games to the modern age. Now while this drops December 5th in the US and Australia, us over here in Europe have to wait until December 23rd to get our hands on this. Simu Liu has dropped some news regarding Sleeping Dogs, the movie version though, tweeting out that the first draft of the script is complete, and then later going on to reveal, in response to users, that Square Enix have been great in the process of this. It's the movie studios that have reportedly been causing issues, including what appeared to be the movie getting canned back in January. I think it's fair to say we're all hoping for a really solid adaptation of this amazing game. And then finally, on this really slow news day, it's time to talk about something that's going to divide people: AI. The Game Post dropped a report that Dark Outlaw Games, which is a PlayStation studio, has been seeking artist experience with AI tools like Midjourney. This couples with reports that Halo Studios have been using AI to help with things such as world building. So, since AI is such a hot topic or controversy with some people, either loving it or hating it, how do you feel about these video game studios using AI to help with development of either new or existing franchises we all love? Well, that was your 3-minute gaming news in way less than 3 minutes. We'll see you tomorrow.